Hi, also, this is a small podcast I'm starting, which is just a like small chat with the people we know in general, like my friends mostly. So I'm calling it to be mutual appreciation group. This is just to kill the lockdown times, nothing more than that. So today we have with us Archit Seth, who is ex-Gen of IIMA and also a good friend of mine. So hi Archit, what's up?
Hi, Shani. Nothing, just, finding avenues to pass time during these tough days.
Yeah, so I hope like this small interview or small podcast with you will be a great way to kill time for both of us.
Of course, man, trust me. It's getting so much time that it's much better than counting different things in Nani's house. I mean, trust me, much, much, much better time pass.
Yeah. So okay. So like the idea of this podcast is to have a small chat with that person and like getting to know them more in person. For the people who have not interacted with you and for people who have interacted, knowing the other side of personality. Who doesn't have any sort of personal relationship with you, just a work relationship with you.
hmm
Just the first HR question. Like, so tell me something about you. A very basic introduction.
Okay, so I'm Archit. I come from Bhagalpur. It's a small town in Bihar. I was raised there till class 10. For the last now 11 years, I've been going around different parts of the country. Graduated in electronics engineering from my DBHU. Worked for 3 years as a software developer. Worked with Snapdeal and a startup called Zappa Media Labs. Then eventually with some kind of epiphany, I thought I should do an MBA. Landed up in Ahmedabad. Had very interesting time there. And right now I'm stuck in one part of India. I just want to go back home. This is a very, very brief introduction about myself. Is there anything specific you want to know? I'm more than happy to share.
Yeah, so if I ask you to describe yourself more as a person, like without mentioning anything like professional or which you would like to put on CV, but something how you are as a person, without mentioning anything, your accolades or any achievements, how do you describe yourself as a person, Rajat?
Okay, I guess the first thing that I would, that comes to my mind is someone who just can't sit idle. I mean, trust me, I find it really, really hard to sit idle. I'm extremely destructive. So that's the first thing. One I would like to believe is kind of very emotional, gets attached to things, people, and the work. Some amount of passion attached to most of the things I've tried to do. uh, Generally have I would like to believe, a tendency to get into some kind of leadership activities, be it at a very small scale or however large the scale might be. Somebody who really expects a lot of honesty and loyalty, that is something very, very, you know, important for me in people I interact with, in people I am friends with, and people you get into relations with. So these are the kind of traits I really am very inclined into. Somebody who really admires intelligence and really uh, really wants somebody who really is a big fan of intelligent and good hard work, and really wants to be on that side as well. So really persevere to get on that side. For somebody who's trying to chase to achieve something, so the chase is always on.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get into a very that resting phase. Okay, now that's something is achieved, now I can rest and all. So somebody who is always looking for something, somebody who's always in a hurry to get something,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, kind of fun, not very, but yeah, it's at sometimes very irritating because sometimes I feel I cannot handle myself. I think that is that
So
is
yeah,
how it would to
so
describe
what
it.
I get is you're someone who is very ambitious, very driven, like just going after things one after another, and
Yeah,
like want to make a difference because of the leadership thing you mentioned.
I would not want to say that that's at the forefront of everything. I mean, that's something which is very important and a good part. I won't say that's the centrality of everything, but yeah, quite an important driver, to be honest.
Awesome. Uh, like, tell us something about your personal life. What I mean by this is like every person has some sort of events, tragedies, struggles in their life which made them the person they are today.
hmm
And what are some of those events or struggles you had in life which made you the person, which had a great impression on you? And
hmm
one is the events, and second is like who are the people around you which had a great impression on you as a person?
Okay, so so this might be a little long one. So to be really, really honest, this is not something, I don't think that at least most of us, face that kind of real struggle and have a very, very struggling story. Most of us. Some things that really moved me from my early childhood. So I come from a place where even though my family was very well off, the access to a lot of things is just not available. If I look back at a class 8-year-old or 6 year, class 8 Archit or a class 6 Archit, I would like to believe I was extremely stupid. Stuck at a place where you did not have even, access to a lot of things. For example, I never knew what an NTSC exam was,
Mm-hmm.
right, till class 8th or 9th. I don't know what an Olympiad was till class 7th, right? Didn't know all of those things. It just happened that there was something called as Fiji Talent Reward Exam,
Mm-hmm.
right? I just happened to take that exam back in class 7th or 8th.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow got all over India around 50, under 50.
Excellent.
And by that time, was one of those who has been like every other IIMA kid, man, who has been a topper throughout his entire schooling career and stuff. All those basics were there. So then somehow my parents realized this guy can do something. So that's the first time when we stepped out of, Bhagalpur, got out to Delhi to appear for this interviews, and there we interacted with a lot of people about coaching, etc., the schooling there, and that was quite changing for at least me as a person. When my mom is already from Kolkata, she had good idea about all of that. So that is one moment that was quite changing, coming from a very, very, school in a tier 3 city
Mm-hmm.
to a sort of national scenario. You just get to see something and then you say, okay, you can also do something. So from there, my parents started finding out about all those coaching classes, etc. Otherwise, the only coaching we knew was Banjal Kota,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then more research started how do people in Delhi prepare and how to prepare intelligently, smartly, and all the stuff. And what are the other career avenues if not engineering? Then how to get into commerce, economics, etc. So
Mm-hmm.
I think by class 9 I had a good idea of all courses in Delhi University, all courses of engineering, commerce, etc. So that is one moment. The second, I think it's not a single moment, but the series of events. I come from a family of business,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have like 3 generations or in fact more, of silk business in Bhagalpur, which is Silk City of India.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Silk City. But somehow I never felt that the kind of environment in my house was very conducive enough to be a part of the same legacy. I mean, I cringed at it, to be honest. And my parents too. My mother too definitely was against me entering into business, however flourishing it might be during my days. So that was one thing, which in fact was even a more motivation to, get out. So I was raised as a kid who was always told that I have to leave Bhagalpur. I think ever since I was in class 6th or 7th, I was raised in a way that you have to leave this town after class 10th. So that
Mm-hmm.
kind of mental preparation and mental value was always there. So this was the second part, which really changed stuff, etc. 11, 12 was mostly spent studying, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, during those days, it's mostly about studying and making it because you're kind of brainwashed that you have to get into an IIT to make it big,
Mm-hmm.
right? I did not. And third thing, I think this was the third thing. I think there, out of when the results came, I did few errors here and there. In spite of all those research, I think I did very poor uh, in terms of selecting where I had to go.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one thing which really, really affected. It's a big smash to your ego for the first time in your life. You
Mm-hmm.
wanted to go to all those established IT and where did you end up?
Mm-hmm.
But then, it was a conscious call. It was a, choice between which branch do you choose versus the IT you choose. Could have taken something else, but then ended up missing out on Triple IT Hyderabad, ended up
Mm-hmm.
on missing out on mathematics and computing, ended up missing out on the course you pursued, economics.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that time didn't strike me so much. And to be honest, I never had good guidance from anybody, senior or elder in the family, who was
Mm-hmm.
educated in this line. So I think that kind of stuck. That really smashed your ego. Yeah, kahan gaya? And first year in college, I entered. I was like, fuck, what did I do to myself? I did not.
Mm-hmm.
At least I would like to believe that I did not study this much. The truth is, I did not. But it was like, you at least tried so much, and then you're not a place you thought it would be. So
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of smashing. So yeah, there I said I had to study hard for 1 year to get a branch in it. And then I was like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
ab ho gaya, some sort of, solace. And
Mm-hmm.
then started pursuing normal college and then gave up on studies. another bad thing for
So,
1 or 2 years.
you came to which branch and like shifted to?
I got into chemical engineering. Then
Mm-hmm.
I saw that fourth year engineering, my seniors are happy after getting 7 lakh pay packets into Reliance and they're celebrating like they have conquered the world. And I was like, what the fuck? ये तो कुछ सेंस नहीं लग रहा है, पता नहीं क्यों लग रहा था उस टाइम. That kind of was like, यार ये तो गलत हो रहा है शायद.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, यार ये तो नहीं कर सकता यार अपन इतनी मेहनत, this was not something which was done. Because you look at the world very, very objectively as a first year student, and especially you're coming from, after preparing for the tough examinations, you're off, away from home, away from all sort of technological advancements of those days. You don't have a phone, you don't have a laptop, you don't have computers, but like,
Mm-hmm.
back to Parado. So that kind of, is tough during those days because that's like, but then, so that was there in first year. Kind of studied hard, not very hard, but just wanted to switch.
Mm-hmm.
Got a switch luckily, was happy then, and then gave up on studies for some time. Like, fuck it. Got into a lot of dramatics and stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
did a lot of dramatics, and then was the first, actually, second time, and got into college leadership activities, was the secretary of dramatics club there, was part of other stuff like the committee which organizes the cultural festival. They had to make a during our time there were a lot of movements that to make a student gymkhana constitution or led that committee. So basically CRC of IIT but they
Mm-hmm.
did not have a senate.
Mm-hmm.
So they were real working CRC rather than the fake one we are at hand. So, that was one committee which we worked for almost two
Shots are
years.
fired here.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, so, and then, there are a lot of, met a lot of people, made a lot of friends, we're still friends, still very good friends. Most of them are seniors.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of, learnings came from that part of life. And, once college ended, got into, well, my first job, that is when I got, serious professionally. Because one other thing which turned me over was I was interning with Tata Steel
Mm-hmm.
and I did not get a PPO, even though I was very, very sure that I'll get a PPO.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of shocked me because there were 6 interns
Mm-hmm.
uh, at a particular place. We were ranked. I was second, but all five got PPO. I did not get a PPO. And I was like, what the fuck? I came back to college
Mm-hmm.
thinking that I'll get a PPO. I was preparing for CAT.
Mm-hmm.
And I was expecting, ठीक है ये तो हो ही जाएगा. Then suddenly results came and I was like, okay, what the fuck does this happen? So I was shocked. I had
Mm-hmm.
no other option but to give up on my CAT preparation, then ultimately start studying coding, which I should have never left after my class 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Because people who learn coding in first year, that was the sort of coding I'd already done till my class 10, 12th. And
Mm-hmm.
even after sitting into electronics, I was like, well, I gave up on studies. So even though I should have studied computer science engineering in the first place, I was an idiot to miss out on triple IT. But then accidentally I got back again. And then I loved getting into that. I got placed as a software engineer, loved working for Snapdeal. And even when I made a switch, I was very much sure that I wanted to pursue an MS.
Mm-hmm.
The second year of my job, I took GRE, TOEFL, everything, and I was 100% sure that I'll do an MS in US
Mm-hmm.
and will definitely pursue technological side because MBA is shit. But
Mm-hmm.
all my friends who did an MBA back then, their simple motive was salary increase or a natural progression of the jobs, etc., which did not appeal to me. I
Mm-hmm.
still feel that true money and true progress, and in fact, true learning and skills are in technological area, whatever it is.
Okay.
So I was very sure, but then suddenly, after taking all those exams, I suddenly realized two things. One, I don't think US is a good place to be. I think I also fell to that herd mentality कि fuck यार. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, US जाके मचाने से तो अच्छा है इंडिया में 125 करोड़ लोग हैं. यहाँ
Mm-hmm.
लोगों को चूतिया बनाओ, वहाँ बहुत कॉम्पिटिटिव है, नहीं हो पाएगा. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, careful evaluation of my profile told me that see, it's not possible that you did a very, very good college.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I had already done one thing to me, myself. When I took my undergrad college, IIT BHA,
Mm-hmm.
even though it might be one of the finest colleges in the country, that's not something which you aspire to be, where you
Mm-hmm.
aspire to be. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, एक बार मैंने ऐसा किया है, मैं दूसरी बार लाइफ में ये नहीं करूँगा, फिर अच्छी जगह जाना था.
Mm-hmm.
Bluntly, this was also a reason that I was very, very sure I won't get into the top 15
Mm-hmm.
because I was not a computer science graduate, I was an electronics graduate and not very high grades, okayish nice grades,
Mm-hmm.
8.2ish. So I left that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, okay, I'll build my career in tech and perhaps take a call next year. So when I joined my next job, there I was very inspired by the founders of those companies. I mean, all three of them were IIMA people. And
Mm-hmm.
there I actually got a good sense of what MBA can do to you,
Mm-hmm.
how blend of an MBA and technology brings out best in forming
Mm-hmm.
businesses, etc. So there I was very shocked,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And since there were a lot of IIMA people who
Mm-hmm.
great profile, worked at great places, came there, except the founders, was raised amongst them. So even when they got to know that I was writing that and preparing for interviews, etc., they
Mm-hmm.
also wanted to go Jana for Ahmedabad Jana. So, towards before coming here, I think I was raised amongst them. So there's always a
Mm-hmm.
feeling I have to go there. So I think these are some of the things which shaped stuff in my journey this year.
Yeah, so I like talking more in terms of like the person, like who had a great
Mm-hmm.
impression on you as a person. Like who will you, let's say, so like there is a basic saying that you are the average of the people you are around with, or you have grown up with
Mm-hmm.
something on those lines. So
Mm-hmm.
who are the people who had a like great impression on you as a person?
I think very cliche answers to that. It's actually true. The first was my father, to be honest, right? I don't think I've seen anyone as selfless as him. I mean, getting to very personal details, we mostly worked with almost no financial direct incentives in the business itself. I mean, he could have done anything more he wanted, but for his parents and for the family, he just kept on working
Mm-hmm.
extremely selflessly. I mean, he did
Mm-hmm.
not have complete control over the business till I was in class 10th. It
Mm-hmm.
was that kind of, strong patriarchal structure being followed, strong control by grandparents kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of selflessness is something, which is extremely appealing and still is. Even now, he doesn't care about himself at all. So I think he has been one person who's been, really motivating for me.
Mm-hmm.
Second, I think from my mother, it's more about the pragmatic aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so, look at, always researching stuff for me, trying to get the best for me, trying to train me to देखो तुम्हें यहाँ से बाहर जाना and all those stuff. This is
Mm-hmm.
not how we would want things to be for you. So I think that kind of pragmatism was something I learned from my mother. Uh, Growing up, I was a huge cricket fan,
Mm-hmm.
right? I worshipped Sachin.
Mm-hmm.
I still do. I mean, still, like, I stopped watching cricket after him. I
Mm-hmm.
cried like a baby at his retirement. मतलब तो honestly, he was a very, very, very big inspiration, however stupid or kiddish it might sound.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, really look up to him for everything. He cannot be wrong. He's God. End of story. Then, I think in college, when you get to explore and
Mm-hmm.
you are independent for the first time, then rather than single people, it was more about sometimes concepts, uh,
Mm-hmm.
ideologies which were inspiring to me. For example, I was extremely inspired during those days by doing dramatics in general.
The dramatics?
Dramatics in general. So the
Okay.
entire idea of theatre, dramatics, street play, stage play, that was very inspiring for me.
Mm-hmm.
Being a part of that, doing all sorts of nonsensical, stupid stuff, and at the same time with extreme dedication.
Mm-hmm.
Extreme dedication. See, I maybe don't get time. We do
Mm-hmm.
stupid shit. In any undergrad colleges, people do amazing stuff with dramatics. So
Mm-hmm.
that was very inspiring at that time. So then I got to get into most, and then actually, then I realized there's a very famous speech by, might sound low, Matthew McConaughey, when he won the Best Actor award in 2014.
Okay.
Uh, so he said a very nice thing, and that has stuck with me. I thought, who is the hero? So he says, my hero is he himself, 10 years away from him. So like for a 15-year-old him, is hero for him would be 25-year-old him. This is what I want to be. And then when he's 25 years old, then his hero is what he would be at 35 years old. So that kind of idea really, strike,
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Well,
struck
what's
you.
this speech like? Sounds interesting to
Absolutely.
me.
So because then he says, and I actually believe that. So if I imagine 15-year-old me or 16-year-old me, 26-year-old me having all those educational achievements would be a huge achievement for a 16-year-old me. I mean, I actually wanted to come here as a 16-year-old kid to IIM Ahmedabad because my parents said that you have to get into an attending school because this 12 percentage will matter in CAT.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of pragmatism is always there. So, that kind of idea really strikes me. Even if you ask me right now, what are you inspired by? I think 10 years, what do I want to achieve? Me, myself, 10 years from now. you know,
Hmm.
so
That's a
that
good.
whenever,
That's a good way to think about it. Yeah.
so because the chase is always on, you never
Hmm.
stop. I
Hmm.
mean, because whenever you reach, you think that, okay, are you a hero now? Like, no, you're not a
Hmm.
hero, because your hero is still 10 years away from you. I think
Hmm.
that kind of idea really, really stuck. Okay, nice.
So okay, so moving on. So, like, how did this Gen Z thing come into picture? Like, I don't think you would have thought, like, before applying for CAT that, okay, I'll go to IIMA, become Gen Z. And
Yes.
so, how does, like, क्यों Gen Z क्यों बनना है? Like, and, like, what are the some, like, what was the idea of you becoming a Gen Z? And then, like, what are the some interesting experiences and challenges you faced during the tenure? Like, what were the learnings, if I say, you had
We talk for
in
an
that
hour
tenure?
on this, right?
Yeah, so but being
Okay, I'll
given
actually tell you.
the paucity of time we have, it will be great if you can be a bit concise in this.
So, okay, why then sex? So, of course, was not thought before. I mean, I don't even know why I became a CR, honestly. But
Mm-hmm.
why then sex? I knew very well. Two reasons. One, I did not think I had a good summer internship time.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something I really wanted to get back on.
Mm-hmm.
कि मतलब ये तो नहीं हो रहा. This is not something which I wanted. I have to improve. I have to
Mm-hmm.
do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, from a very objective point of view, I had to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And giving up on exchange, taking up a PR fitted well with my kind of personality, core competencies, etc. Because I thought that there's enough time to do more than studies, and only studies is not going to take me anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Both as a person, academically, etc. So first is bad summers.
Mm-hmm.
Second is I had already given up on course pehle.
Mm-hmm.
I could have been the cultural namesake of my college. I did
Mm-hmm.
not, because that time I said मेरे को पढ़ना
Mm-hmm.
है. Right. So I was part of a cultural festival core team, but never took up the post because just gave up. नहीं करना. Even
Mm-hmm.
then, even though it was very easy. So this time I was like कि नहीं यार, no, this time I should not give up on such opportunities if it's served. So these were the two main reasons. And to be honest, it was not Gen Check which I was contesting anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I peacefully wanted to be a TRBS coordinator. Went to one of my friends, told him, okay, this is this I've thought. I'm not going on exchange. Matlab, this is happening during the break we got just after internships.
Okay.
I mean, I think C1 I sat.
Mm-hmm.
C1 के बाद I was not happy.
Mm-hmm.
C2 I was helping my friends. C3 I was placing myself. I
Mm-hmm.
came back and started making a plan on whiteboard.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even in the vacation we got, I was just talking to people
Mm-hmm.
about TRBS and stuff. I came back to campus,
Mm-hmm.
told a friend a plan. He said, तुम चूतिए हो,
Mm-hmm.
तुम्हें करना है तो ये करो, ये क्यों कर रहे हो? अगर
Mm-hmm.
करना ही है तो फिर ऐसा करो. I'm like, ठीक है,
If
कर
I may
लिया.
ask, like, who was that great person? Like,
अरे my beloved friend आदित्य अग्रवाल.
okay.
He came to me, he said, मुझे रेड सेट बनना है. I'm like, पागल है क्या? गोल्ड मेडल कहाँ से मिलेगा? I actually told him that. He gave his manifesto to the person who got elected. You should know this. And I was the one who told him कि तू मत बन. I could
Mm-hmm.
not imagine कि बन जाता लाइफ आसान हो गया मेरी काफी. But ठीक है.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how it came into the picture.
Okay.
Interesting experience यार. क्या बताऊं अभी 3 दिन पहले तक ही चल रहा था. I mean, interesting experience. One thing I told a friend of mine, कि I know even if I get it, to be honest, I knew the objective, outcome of all of this and the privileges attached and the, goods of it, but never knew the amount of time and the kind of, mind space it takes. And I knew I would get too attached to it. I mean, even though just to derive some benefit out of it is very easy, the benefit is derived from the day you are elected. I mean, once it's written on the CV, you're already, you've actually, reaped all the benefits of it. But I think living and being a part of it and getting too attached is something, for a long, long duration, it just takes life out of you. The interesting experiences about making coordinators was one very interesting experience. The kind of fights we had and the kinds of fights we had with professors, PlaceCom, Constitution Review Committee, other people, and handling chaos when they are not having budgets, handling fights with clubs, handling all the CA and RC protests and Sangharsh when people are fighting, then handling yearbooks right now, anything for that matter, taking people out of college,
Mm-hmm.
ensuring they have cabs available. So every story is interesting. I think the
Mm-hmm.
most interesting were the kind of fights we had amongst ourselves. And some of the things that I had to do things I'm not really proud of. And some of the things I had to do which are so-called political. Horrors won't stop. You have to keep on manipulating stuff at times. It's inevitable.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So moving on, so like if I ask you like just a like very brief on this, like how has
Hmm.
I may transformed you as a person? Like just a very small thing.
I think I was more optimistic before. I'm a little more pragmatic now. I think I was.
I think this is
Mm,
something Sarah said I also said in class someday.
oh fuck, I'm being associated with them. Oh fuck, this is the moment. It's true, man. I think I was much of an optimist. I think I'm more pragmatic. Honestly, and I didn't know that Sarah said this. Honestly, Sachi.
Okay. So now moving from like more from your like personal life to more towards like your like what I call like the opinion piece in this podcast. So
Hmm.
uh, like so AIM IIMA stands for academics. Like this is the first thing we are told once we reach the campus,
Hmm.
and it's not an unknown fact that students like are increasingly moving towards like courses like which enhance their CGs, but not in their complete which they are not completely interested in.
Hmm.
And like it's been a trend like over the years, and professors are also quite worried about
Hmm.
this trend. So like, what are your views on this, and how do you think like how do you see like things going forward on this?
Okay. I think first of all, to be really honest, I think the problem is kind of overstated at times as well,
Okay.
right? I mean, I think this is a practice which is followed mostly in second year, right?
Mhm.
And I think, the kind of pull effect is, it's basically, to be bluntly honest, it's because of few sectors, mostly consulting and some of finance,
Mhm.
right, which is driving all of this,
Mhm.
right? Which chasing what? Chasing these firms. And to be very, very honest, there are five, six firms which cause all of this problem. And those
Mhm.
are not the firms, it's basically the desire of students to get in those firms, which kind of makes people take certain courses which they believe are scoring, which they believe are scoring.
Mhm.
Now, getting that, the firms are also not stupid. I kind of analyze the kind of shortlist people have.
Mhm.
All those elusive firms that people got into, you would see a good balance of everything. I mean, it's kind of a facade. People think that there will be benefits by taking the kind of courses they do, but eventually the law of, balancing everywhere applies. So people turn out to be stupid. But then, वही है ना कि सीधी सबको अच्छा लगता है. This is one thing everybody wants a lot.
Mhm.
So the true effect, the way people think that it might help, it doesn't.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, it's a combination of everything. It's very difficult to change it, to be honest. I think, people do take a lot of stupid courses, to be honest. They hardly get into any hard skills. I mean, even in the consulting firms, man, take away the jobs of all those people who have been placed in MDB. There's no hard skill in almost half of them. मतलब, honestly. So I think first of all, in terms of CGs, etc., first of all, the college should understand and, take assess the kind of courses they're offering. I
Mhm.
mean, irrespective of the fact whether the CD is there or not, is it extensive enough? Is it
Mhm.
rigorous enough? Because some of
Mhm.
the courses have a chill, right? Even though the CG is median or less or high or whatever it is, some of the
Mhm.
courses are extremely easy. You just don't have to do anything and you can do a zero point 0.5 grade course. And at the
Mhm.
same time, you have something like an ABI. You really have to study for a 0.5 grade
Mhm.
course. I think that kind of assessment needs to be done from the college side.
Yeah,
Second, yeah.
yeah. So go on.
Second, from the student side, I thought and thought there's very little you can do to control. You can't remove CG from your CVs. You can't mention medians. You can't remove second year grades. The free market thing will come up with anything. वो फिर companies competitions करा के लेने लगेंगी यार.
Mhm.
कितना रोक लोगे? So I guess one thing could be, some kind of, you know, deciding on a grading pattern nicely. Some
You are
kind of,
hinting towards normalization, like.
not exactly normalization, because I would be that person who wants to go to that last mile detail. Normalization is a thrown solution, throwing a bone to a dog. You have to actually get into how the course is designed, etc. as well. I'm mostly hinting that अंधा ही नहीं बांटना चाहिए.
Mhm.
I'm mostly like, थोड़ा The professor should be told कि देखो ये problem है थोड़ा सोच समझ के grade दिया और if you think everybody should get an A, everybody should get an A. But just don't force fit everything. You're taking away that independence from the professor. I
Mm-hmm.
think a good, healthy conversation needs to take place amongst professors, which I'm pretty sure has not taken place yet.
Okay.
Yet, because then they try to victimize or scapegoat certain courses. They will say all OB courses do this, all public system group courses do this. This
Mm-hmm.
is the kind of attitude some of the professors of our college sadly have. They
Mm-hmm.
can't sit together and have a good chat about it. I think that's the first step. And second year, I think if good evaluation of everything is done,
Mm-hmm.
then this will go away. But I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, to be really, really honest, I don't think any person has been able to get that kind of job which he or she wanted just by course engineering. It's very, very difficult.
Hmm. Yeah. So moving on. So what are the two good things about the IIMA culture in general, which you like really like, and what are something like two bad things or which you don't like about IIMA culture, and like just views on that.
I think one is the general living arrangement of people. I mean, the kind of dorm culture, and I won't say a very, very dorm culture, it's not in its prime glory to be honest, but the residential culture of the campus is very good. I mean, that allows for a lot of interaction, and it's not as big as our undergrad days, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not as secluded as I would say as in Bangalore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of interaction, which I feel is very good. So that kind of we have a lot of study groups oriented courses, so the different parts of it actually encourages you to have a lot of interaction. You can't be aloof,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is one thing which I really, really feel is good about anime.
Mm-hmm.
Second is, I think the professors are very, very receptive and open. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you could walk up to anyone and talk about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is not something which at least I've seen in my undergrad. And that has been a kind of observation by talking to others as well. The approachability is extremely high, be it a director or dean, anyone. I think you
Mm-hmm.
can just talk about anything. These are the two things which I think are very, very peculiar to at least our campus. It's something which really strikes out for me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Two bad things, first of all, are identifying people with the kind of intern and jobs. I hate it. Is going through club pages, which you said is very active these days, introducing their members and mentioning where did they intern in a mentorship cell does not make any sense to me. Or even consult Flower Beta for that matter. Right? So I think a lot of identification of everyone is about the kind of interns they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is extremely stupid, man. I do hate it. And you could see a segregation of people after summers. Suddenly, some people are, you know, made stars. Okay, this guy is going to this firm, this guy is going to this firm. The kind of stereotyped as well. Okay, he's a product management guy. He's a strategy guy because he's going to consulting in Globe Code. All those sort of shit happen, man. So I
Mm-hmm.
think too much of an association, obsession with interns and jobs is something which I hate.
Labeling people in general.
Hate it, yeah. The
Mm-hmm.
labeling with jobs and interns is extremely immature. I to
Mm-hmm.
despise it from the bottom of my heart. I mean that is. And second is giving demigod statuses to people on campus. ये इसका god है, वो इसका god है, इसकी goddess है. It's extremely stupid also. I mean, to be really honest, I believe personally, engineers are there in IIMA because they had a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Non-engineers are there in IIMA because they are born in a good generation. That's it. I think it's more of a privilege we have rather than any sort of achievement through achievement made.
Mm-hmm.
And people live with extraordinary sense of achievement in IIMA claiming to have achieved something like पता नहीं क्या उखाड़ लिया है. To be really honest, most of them, and I've seen a lot of these people, चार नॉवेल पढ़ के आ गए, चार इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स में किताबें पढ़ ली तो उन्हें लगता है बहुत तेज है. मतलब I don't think that's how the world works. I mean, there are a lot of people who have been given sort of cult statuses. I don't know why. I really fail to understand why. And this is across different things.
Mm-hmm.
ये ACP god है, से बहुत अच्छा बोलता बोलती है. And this is just, too much of a celebrity kind of status being attached. It's extremely stupid. I think people in army need to learn a lot of humility, to be honest.
Hmm. Yeah. So just like the last question. So on the closing notes, so what are your like top three memories that I may it could be good or bad, like but which are something like which you will sort of remember. like for a long time?
I think it's stupid, but tea night.
Mm-hmm.
Tea night is something I mean, I really, really remember because we had a very, very interesting section.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something which I would remember very, very fondly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Secondly, the month of June, July 2019,
Mm-hmm.
I would remember that very fondly.
Mm-hmm.
And last would be, I think, final placements. And because that is something I waited for like 15 months, every preparation was for that day. So that is something I remember very fondly. So
Yeah. So thanks a lot, Archit. It was really nice talking to you. And
yeah,
yeah, so
thanks a
have
lot,
a nice
Shane.
day. Enjoy the lockdown.